This one comes from Dundrameth. And like I said, your names are just coming off the chat, so I just see your screen name. So if that's not your real name, Dundramlaith. What do you make of the idea Wolfgang Saus and Bozeman I outlined in their earlier live streams that the brightness of vowels are tuned in the back, in the pharynx, despite our sense that brightness is in the front? Now, I'm not, we'd have to have a live conversation with Dundramath to get an exact idea of what he's saying. But are you aware of their research, and they're presenting that the tuning is actually behind the tongue in the pharynx? So it's a reversal of what's been common thinking, that formant 1, formant 2 into formant 1 and 2. It's kind of a reversal. What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't dug too much into it, but I certainly will. But the idea of, look, there's what is actually happening. It's what they can measure, and then there's what we experience as singers. And so it really is. We have to guide this by sensation, and Ken will talk about, sensation mapping, and he'll point out, the oo and the e, the oo tends to feel like it's the more open throat, even though it's not. But if they're, the idea, so they're saying more that the lower resonance is more in the mouth, that F1 is in the mouth, and F2 is more associated with the throat?
No, almost the reversal of that. But the way to put it in a simple, I try and put it in simple terms.
Yeah.
I'm calling it pharyngeal tuning.
Okay, yeah.
In the pharynx, and you've spoken about the length of the tube is so important for vowels, that the real vowel and most important tuning happens there, and the front space, it can color the sound, but it is what comes out depends on here first, and then this is just the coloring of the result of the pharyngeal tuning, as I call it.
Which is actually, is a great way to think about it. If you think about getting the pharynx, if you think about getting the throat dialed in first, and then using this as just your finishing, that's a great way to dial it in, because most of your issues again are occurring here, and those imbalances and the tension and the squeezing, etc.
Yeah. So he just got typed in a follow-up question. Swap resonators, the brightness is in the back. So Dundrameth, just to be clear, I don't mean that they swap places literally.
Yeah.
I just mean that the traditional way of thinking about where the formants are created has been to give more emphasis to the space in front of the tongue rather than the space in the back of the tongue.
Yeah.
And Bozeman and Saus both have shown, in my opinion, that it is the space behind the tongue that is, what would you say, most important, if you will, or determines the outcome of other things. So that's going to get really technical.
Yeah.
But the brightness...
And then there's also...
Go ahead.
As you're singing, brightness is going to feel more forward. And so that's our reality. And that's kind of our steering mechanism, if you will. Yes. So I think, that sensation is pretty universal for singers, and even that instruction, bring it forward. It's just understanding how to do that.
Right. And I do experience that. And I don't know if, I don't want to get too, shooting in the dark here, but if we have an, if the brightness, I'm really focusing here, then you get a lot of ring, a lot of brightness. So the brightness is, for me, a byproduct of what's happening here. Now that's more of a classical sound.
Yep.
So if you take that away, though, if I sacrifice this space to overdo it, like you were saying, John, I won't have as much brightness as
Yeah.
why. So if you do need to maintain that backspace
Yep.
to have enough room for resonance. If that, I'm just simplifying that. I hope that's okay with everybody. Thank you, Dundramet. It's a great question and very, very specific question. So next time Wolfgang Saus is on here and Ken, then we'll come back and we'll give it to them and they'll give you a very full explanation.
Yes.
And if you want to get a very fine-tuned explanation of exactly what you're asking, then I invite you, like I said, support Singing Voice Masters, get a membership for a month, then you can watch their presentation. Wolfgang's, I think, 4 hours talking on this subject, and Kenneth Bozeman for 2 hours. So it's really an amazing, how much, John, how much would be worth to, or how much do you and I usually pay to watch Kenneth Bozeman and Wolfgang Saus at a professional level talk for 6 hours? What's that going to usually cost?
A lot of money, and then there's travel and hotel and all those things.
Yeah.
So this is to get them to take time out of their schedule and explain these things. It really is priceless if you want to understand this.
Yeah, so you really get a
Greatest
lot.
minds in the voice science world.
They're really phenomenal, and the live streams are phenomenal. I enjoy going back and watching them. So let's move on to the next question. I just want to point that out. You get access to 6 hours of content, and we have over 30 master classes and about 50 hours of master classes now, and the membership's only $30 a month. So it's a crazy deal. But this is the way that Voice Masters survives. We don't make any money on Voice Masters on this live stream because we want to share the knowledge with you.